Hi, so glad you could join me for Marshashana Yoga, where we do a gentle meditative yoga to help calm the mind and awaken the body, and calm the body and awaken the mind. There are 8 limbs to yoga. Most of you are familiar with one of the limbs, the asanas or postures that we do in yoga, and with another limb, pranayama, the control of the breath that we practice. And many hope to ultimately achieve samadhi, which is union with the divine, a state of bliss where the high self becomes more prevalent and the mind itself is no longer involved. All very lofty stuff for many of us regular Joes, but we do know, and science is backing it up more every day, that the regular Joes can benefit greatly from the practice of yoga, even if it involves just the postures and breath work. But there is another limb I want to talk about today. It's the Yama. Now there are Yama and another limb, Niyama. These are ways that we conduct ourselves in the yogic tradition. The Yamas being about a personal code of moral/ethical conduct and our attitudes toward the environment around us. And the Niyamas, which are about our attitude towards ourselves, and these help us develop self-discipline. We'll talk Niyama on another show. Today we will focus on Yama, or self-restraint. I have heard yoga described in many ways, but one I like is that it is the oldest form of self-improvement. Others feel that should be more about self-acceptance. I think it's both. Yes, because in yoga we continually try to become better physically, mentally, and spiritually while accepting our path as our own. When they refer to yoga as transformational, I believe that is completely accurate. As with anything, the more you put in, the more you get out. And for me, that varies at times. The thing is, it does have a code of conduct, some basic rules for living a good life. They're also referred to as the 10 forms of temperance. I guess, although I emphasize that yoga is not, and of itself, a religion, but you might notice the similarities between some of the laws of various religions. I guess it's just about trying to be a good person. That's in my very humble opinion. Okay, back to the Yamas. These rules of self-restraint are as follows. Ahimsa, or nonviolence. This means no harmful words, thoughts, or actions. The second is satya, or truthfulness. This means speaking the truth, being honest, but also to try not to be sarcastic. Sarcasm is often hurtful at its root, and also to not criticize. The third is asteya, or non-stealing. Of course, this means not taking others' physical property, but it means not robbing people of their time or spirit too. It means to not cheat or in any unethical way to manipulate someone else for gain. We should not encourage, in our speaking or writing, anyone to steal or cheat either. It even involves not thinking about cheating. We direct our thoughts away from that and towards better things. The idea is that it happens because of a lack of compassion towards others. To take from others also illustrates a lack of faith in the person that he can get stuff for himself. And it also robs that person of developing to his full potential. Gandhi saw asteya in the light of ahimsa. I guess you'd say because he saw stealing as a form of violence to another person. The fourth is Brahmacharya, which means being more conscious in celibacy or monogamy. The last is aparigraha, or greedlessness. This involves non-hoarding and being generous and not obsessed with greed or deep in debt. It's about living with the basics, about not taking gifts that bind you to the giver, by not coveting what others have or desiring to possess things as in a way that we attach too much importance to them. Shopping can become an addiction, and that would be okay, but the new stuff doesn't bring with it contentment. That comes from within. Aparigraha is about not grasping, so letting happen what will happen without trying to will it not to happen. You know what I mean. Possessiveness in relationships is a form of greed. We can even do this in our yoga poses, when we sacrifice our knees or back as we attempt to perfect the pose, to add it to our collection of poses, as one teacher put it. We should not covet the person on the mat next to ours for their perfect hamstrings or balance skills. Sometimes we identify ourselves with something. We might think of ourselves as timid, or a teacher, or a baseball fan. But this grasping on to this identity can limit us in other areas. Obviously, we are all human beings, so we exhibit all of these things. I always thought of myself as someone who never steals. I remember when my yoga teacher pointed out that no one is completely honest because we steal time and energy from others. That was a whole new can of thought for me. Been thinking about that ever since. In fact, it is this thinking about thinking that makes yoga so profound as a means of stabilizing emotions and observing the thoughts from outside and bringing with it more balance mentally. And in the case of the Yama, it is about right living. Really, what we all learned as young children. Do the right thing and do unto others, etc. All that good stuff prevails. Now, with a little more knowledge about this first limb of yoga, yes, it is the first limb, we will move to the mat, and from there, take what we have learned with us into our everyday world. So let us begin here in Shavasana, or corpse pose, as we just begin to bring some peace and some quiet to the body and the mind. We do that by bringing our attention to the rise and fall of our breath. We notice the breath, the inhalation and the exhalation. As concerns come to mind, we just allow them to drift away, returning again to the rise and fall of the breath. So we're moving through the spring season now. This new life, a time of new energy, new life, a time of awakening and awareness, and a time for leaving regret behind, for accepting and surrendering to the path that we are on. So just begin now to deepen the breath, taking a fuller breath, filling the belly up and the ribs right up into the chest. And then releasing chest, ribs, belly. With the inhalation, breathe deeply. We bring in fresh energy, fresh oxygen for the blood and tissues, and then we exhale, letting go. Relaxing that back body and returning to the natural flow of the breath. And then we'll take the body long by bringing the arms behind, thumbs leading, extending right from the waist up through the sides of the body, through the fingertips, and pushing the heels away, grounding the calves. Lengthening the body, and exhaling, bringing the arms down. And you may have noticed that my set is even more green this morning as we bring a little more greenery in for the spring. My thanks to Malcolm for helping me with this beautiful set. And then just lift the head and remove the pillow, set it to the side. Or if you're on a bolster in Supta Baddha Konasana, which we often are, you can come off your bolster as well. Sometimes I forget my bolster at home, and today that's the case. So it's okay to start in Shavasana. Not everyone has a bolster. So once again in this position, just elongate the body. We know that energy is not made up or created. It's released via extension of the spine. Drop the arms down by the sides. Do a pelvic tilt so that you're pushing the small of the back into the floor. And then release. And again, we push that small of the back, we raise the pelvis towards the face, release. So we're just warming up that lower back and getting a sense of how the back feels as well. Because we do cultivate this awareness in yoga where we're watching the body. And then begin to point and flex the feet, because we always warm up the feet as well. And just widen them a bit and make some circles. So we waken the hips and the feet the other direction. And bring those big toes together and just point them forward so that you get that nice inner groin stretch, that inner thigh stretch. Bring them back up and bring the legs back to hip distance as you just slide the heels and tap the backs of the legs. And come to rest. Wiggle the toes, spread the toes. And then just relax the feet, letting the toes be upwards. So we do try to keep that yoga feet. Bring the arms up, lower the shoulders down, extend the arms so that we're stretching them. Spread the fingers. Make a loose fist, spread them wide. Again, a loose fist, never clenching, spreading wide. And then tuck your thumb inside, make a loose fist, just make some rotations with the hands. Make sure you can see your hands, that they're not like back there somewhere, because that hurts the shoulders. And then bring the palms together, interlace right down to the webbing, and then turn that up towards the ceiling. Inhale, draw it to your chest. Exhale to the corner of the ceiling and the wall in front of you. Inhale, and exhale up. Separate the hands, once again lengthen the body. Stretching, stretching. Exhaling down, in time with your breath. Bring the feet to the floor, one at a time. And I want you to just rock the knees gently back and forth, but only within a very short range. So at this point, we're pressing down a little, we're getting a little mini massage, and we're noticing just that small area of the lower back. And then we just rock a little wider. So now we notice the hips. So yoga is about awareness. It really is. It's about noticing what you're doing with your body. And then coming back and over to the side and back up. Once again, extend the arms, extend the legs, stretch. Exhale down. Bring the feet to the floor one at a time, and let's stretch those hamstrings. Now, at home, if you like, you can use a belt. Sometimes we do the belt, sometimes we do it without it, but you're always welcome to use your props, to modify your postures, to make it better for you. There is never pain involved. In fact, we talked about ahimsa. You don't want to do those poses to the point where you're hurting. That's violence to the body. So we draw the right leg into the chest. Just taking a breath, stretching that lower back a bit as well. Then we extend the right leg up, interlacing behind. Or you can use a belt, bringing the belt around the foot and just doing it that way. And then we use motion either with the belt or without, keeping the sole of the foot up. We work that up and down. Now, for those of us with tight hamstrings, and I can even hear mine creaking, always have tight hamstrings. I'm just one of those people. So I like to use that little bit of motion to rock that in and out. That helps. Point and flex the foot. And now move that thigh forward as the arms lengthen to wherever you can go. Come down here, you can go up a little higher. But I have to be careful because I tend to lift that buttocks up off the floor, and you don't want to do that. And so now I've moved my hands back down here. I'm accommodating for that because, of course, my teacher points out to me what I'm doing wrong too. So pointing and flexing. Now cross that over the other one. Take your right hand, just open up that thigh. You know how we encourage that hip. One hand to each knee, bring it up. Rock it in a little. Bring that left foot down, bring that right foot down. Draw the left knee into the chest. Hug it. Breath. Don't forget to breathe. Extend the right leg up. Push that sole up to the ceiling. Extend the leg long and straight. So no matter if you have to come down here to straighten the leg, that's where you want to be. If you're up here and you're like this, you know, you're better off here. However, some people do have such a tightness in behind their knees, they just can't straighten it. Don't ever force stuff. Over time, you may be able to gradually straighten. Point and flex that foot. Push the sole up, draw the thigh down. Push that back up. Keep your right knee up at the ceiling. Spread the toes. Draw it back down. Push it back up. And once more, just using that motion to stretch those hamstrings. Cross that over, open up with the left hand, bring those knees to the chest. Gently rock that in and out. Right foot to the floor, left foot to the floor, extend the arms, extend the legs. And then exhaling down. Let's roll over and just come up to a seated position so that we're extending the legs in front of us on the mat. And we'll just tap the legs. Keep that spine straight. Point and flex the toes. And now bring your fingertips beside you as you lift and open the chest. We let the shoulders come down, move them down the back. That's kind of a common move in yoga positions. So we just kind of learn how to move those shoulder blades down. Lift the chest. Reach forward, lift the chest up as you keep the back straight. Taking a breath, opening up that chest. And walk the hands back up. Bring the legs close together. Cross the right leg over the left with the toes pointed up. Take the left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Extend your spine. And then move into a twist using that back hand to twist you. Now don't take the lower back with you. Just the upper ribs is what turns, and take a breath. And then come back, uncross, cross the left over the right, take the right hand to the outside of the left, extend up, and again, moving into that twist, relaxing the shoulder, taking a breath. And releasing back to center, tap the legs. Now let's come on up for a minute for table to table. So we come into that position, tapping the backs of the feet, the tops of the feet. And then we're going to do it a little different today. So we're going to inhale and exhale at flat back with head up. Make sure those feet are pointed straight back. Exhale here. Let's inhale as we round and tuck. We usually exhale. Inhale up. Exhale to flat back. Inhale up. Dropping that head, exhale up. Head comes forward. Bring the right knee into the chest, hunch up. Drop the head towards the knee. And then extend that right leg back. Inhale, bring it in, hunch up. Extend it back. Bring the toe out to the side, and then bring yourself up as you bring the sole flat against the floor in this modified plank. Keep the head even. And then come back down, bring that in, bring the toes together, knees apart. Rest the head. Remember to shake the wrists out a little. And try to bear in mind what we did talk about bearing more into the fingertips rather than the palm pads. And that doesn't mean that you want to be up on your fingertips. You want to be on your whole hand, but you want to be pressing into those fingertips. And we know we talked about how, and you can see with my hand how I still go to that outside edge. So we just keep continuing. Come back up to that. And now we're going to draw the left leg up into the chest. Extend it. Inhale. Extend it. Push it back and then bring it out to the toes on the side. Bring the other arm up and the foot, if you're able, flat against the floor. And then coming back. Now, I'd like to do hero with you. So with hero, we're going to come up on the knees first. Now, the main thing here is that some people have difficulty sitting back on their knees. I had to use a pillow for a long time. So the best thing is a folded up blanket. You can use a pillow. You can sit on a couple of blocks. So you can really do this many different ways. But let's start, whether you're on a blanket or not, up on your knees. Take your thumbs and take the skin behind your knees and move it to the outside and down towards the ankles and then sit back, just freeing up a little more space for you to sit. And then as you're here, take the hands to the feet and just spread the toes apart a little. Try to spread them on the ground. We're always trying to do that in yoga. And then push down on the base so that the tops of the feet come down. And then draw the thighs, the upper thighs downwards. And as you do that, you'll feel a release in the inner thighs. And you're settling down, you're rooting down. Now extend the arms up, and you can always leave your arms out. It depends on the shoulders, so please modify for yourselves. Stretch up. And as you move forward, come down a little bit and just reach forward. So we're firming those upper arms, and we're also softening, moving those blades down. The trapezius muscle, and those are the two muscles that run right from the occipital bone at the base of the skull, about halfway down your spine. So let's again inhale, up, interlace, extend up. Exhale down. Bring the hands up to prayer. Bend the fingers back and forth a little. Remember when we did it on the wrist, or the show on the wrist, we talked about how to make our hands stronger and more flexible. And then coming, inhale up, exhale down, come up, tuck the toes, come up to standing, and take your blanket off, set it aside. And then come to the top of your mat. So we come to this mountain position, this Tadasana pose, where we make sure our feet are even in parallel. We train them gradually to come to that position. Of course, a lot of us either move out or in. I have a left foot that moves out. I have to move that in. Keep the feet right under the hips and right under the knees, nice and straight. Tuck the tummy back. Let the shoulders come down and take a breath. Lift the arms overhead, lift and spread the toes. Lift the balls of the feet up. Exhale, fan the toes down and place them on the floor. Bring the hands to the hips. Take a step back with one foot so that it's angled out slightly. Bring the torso towards the way you're standing without yanking. Extend the arms up above, close to the ears, or shoulder issues, keep it here. Need to come down a little? No problem. Bend the forward knee so that that knee comes right over the ankle towards the little toe side. Make sure that back thigh stays strong and lifted. In Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Bring the hands to the hips. Straighten the front leg. Extend the spine up. Bend forward with a straight back, and then bring your hands down to either your lower legs or the mat. Let the head hang and take a breath. Hands to hips. Use your upper body strength to bring yourself up. Step forward and come back into Tadasana. Inhale, lift and spread the toes. Exhale, down. Bring the hands to the hips. Step back with the other foot angled out slightly and bring the torso forward. Extend the arms, bend the forward knee. Again, getting it to that place. We always have to maybe jiggle around a little to get things there where we like them. Once you get used to the pose, you can usually come into it pretty good. Warrior 1. Breath, don't stop breathing. Bring the hands to the hips, straighten the front leg, extend the spine up, bend forward, bring the hands to wherever they'll go. Here, don't put them on your knee. No weight on the knees. Breathe. Hands to hips, bring the body up, and then step back into that place. And now we'll come to the center of the mat. Inhaling, lifting the toes. Exhaling down. And now we'll step wide on the mat. And we line the feet up, again making them even in parallel. And we're going to turn the right foot out all the way. And we're going to straighten that leg. We're going to bring those toes in and the heels back a little so that we come into this place. Now, the important thing is this front leg that has to be straight. So we soften the knee. We take it and just actually turn the thigh. I had a student in class this morning who was very experienced, but I could see that there was difficulty with this turn. So what happens is when you bring the torso forward and extend the arms, you don't want to lose this. So that's important. And then we'll just bend that forward knee so that we're gazing out in Warrior 2. The arm is long and strong, the shoulder and hands relaxed. And then straightening that front leg, reach forward, come down with that hand, and look up towards the thumb if your neck is healthy in Trikonasana. Come back up, bring your hands to your hips, turn your feet to the middle, come to the middle, either jumping or walking, tap the legs. Inhale, round the shoulders. Exhale, back. Inhale up, exhale, back. Inhale, these shoulders to the ears. Exhale, ha, ha. Inhale up, exhale, ha, ha. And then let's step wide again because we always do, whatever we do on one side, we do on the other. Again, we bring those feet even in parallel. We train them to be even in parallel. We turn that left one out all the way and the back one in a little. Now let's soften that knee and let's turn that thigh and then straighten the leg. And let's make sure we keep that as we move to the center. Extending through all four limbs. Bend that forward knee, bringing it to a 90-degree angle and gazing out in Virabhadrasana 2. Warrior 2. And then straighten your front leg. Reach forward with that arm as you extend the spine. Come in and just looking up at the other hand. Now don't let your arm move back past your shoulder. That's not healthy. Coming up, hands to hips, feet to center, come together at the middle. Now I'd like to come down to the ground a little bit to do some down dogs and some other stuff. So let's go back down to the mat for a moment. We come into that same table position, but we're going to move the hands forward of the shoulders. Now, make sure that your pinkies are just about to the edge of the mat, close to it. Your index fingers are parallel, or they're moving out, not inward. If you have shoulder issues, you can widen that a little. So again, you work with your body, you modify your body. Tuck your toes. They should be about the same distance as your hands, and then lift up, raising the buttocks up towards that back wall. Walk the heels up and down a little. Yeah, just stretching those hamstrings. Come up, way up on the toes. Lower the heels to wherever you're able. Come into plank pose. Let the vision come in front of the mat. Let the abdomen be up, but the buttocks be down. Good core strengthener. Come back up to down dog. Let the head hang and take a breath or two. Come back into plank pose. Nice. Back to down dog. So we're just going to push a little more today as we do a few more rounds and just holding the posture a little bit more. Coming back into plank. Keeping the thighs strong. And then bring the knees down and the toes together. And come to rest in child's pose. Just resting for a few moments. So in child's pose, we do attempt to bring the buttocks back down on the heels a little bit. Just stretching that back a little. And then I would like you to come down on the stomach. So let's come down to the stomach for a minute. And I'll just talk about this pose for a minute so you can just get maybe in this position for a second. Now we're going to do Salambhasana, or locust. And in this posture is a great upper back strengthener. So it's good for some of the poses we hope to take on in the future. So we're going to, first of all, begin by just taking notice of the back feet. Let's take a look at the back feet. Not a look, but a look in your mind's eye. Are the toes straight back? And you need to flatten down those feet. And spreading them as much as you can as you're able. And as you press down on the tops of the feet, let's just extend the hands out in front of us. I know they usually go back when we do this pose. Let's extend them out and just place the forehead on the ground. So place your forehead down on the ground. I'm going to keep mine up a little because of my microphone. Extend the fingers out and just come up on the fingertips a little and stretch the shoulders a little. If this is problematic, widen them. Do what you need to do. So we just stretch that. Now, focus on the back. Press down with the feet and lift the tops of the thighs and the knees a little bit. Now feel that engagement. Don't grip the buttocks though. When you grip the buttocks, the sacrum becomes compressed. So allow that to be present, but not gripping. Breath. Now just move your hands back and bring them to that position where the palms are down. Rest the forehead on the mat. And keeping those feet pointed straight back, try to imagine that the inside and outside of the ankles are the same length. And now lift up the head, chest, hands and arms off the floor. Move those shoulder blades. Remember that action we talked about. You move those back down the back. In locust. Let that come down. Rest the forehead for a moment. Once again, lift everything up. Just pressing down with the pelvis, lifting up. And pressing down, coming down. Bring your hands to your side. And just draw the elbows in close to the side. Make sure the feet are even parallel, point it back. Peel your chest up off. In Cobra, Bhujangasana. Or you can lift up into upward facing dog. Flip the toes and come up. Come back up into downward facing dog. Taking a breath. Move into plank pose. And you can either drop a knee and come to the side, as we did similar in the cat and table, or you can just roll the feet to the sides as you extend one arm over the other. Just strengthening those arms, trying to stack them one over the other. Come back to the middle. And then move to the other side as you move one shoulder over the other. Breathing. And then coming down, toes together, knees apart. Rest the head in child's pose. You can put your arms under you or block under the head if you like. And just noticing there the rise and the fall of your breath. And then we'll just come up for a minute. And we're going to just come to a seated position. So just seated forward for a minute. Try to bring your feet under your knees as much as possible in Sukhanasana, in simple seated position. Bring your hands to your knees, and let's do a little spinal rotation. So just inhaling around, exhaling, pulling that belly back. Inhale around, exhaling back. Again, and back. And then come over to the other way. So come over to the other side. Inhale around. Exhale, pull the belly back. We create some energy in the belly too. In the fire chakra, in our power seat. Around the front. And exhaling back. Come to center. Bring the arms up. Interlace in the unusual way. So bring your other index finger in the front. Extend up as we experience that inner rotation. And just allow the buttocks to stay down. Support your knees if they're up in the air. And then coming down. Bring one arm up. Just drape it over the head and let that neck move a little to the side as we stretch it. It's good to stretch the neck. And then, but only gently. Coming down, extend the other up. And over. And then releasing back. Let's just come down to the back for a few minutes while we do some twists. Let's twist some of those toxins out. We are here in the spring, everything's fresh and new, so let's get rid of some. So let's begin in this position with the hands just down beside you. Feet are hip distance. Press down with the feet in the small of the back. And let your legs go to the right. Let the torso, the top of the torso, move over towards the left. Turn the head to the left. Take a breath right into the abdomen. Inhale to center. Press down with the feet in the small of the back and let the legs go left as the upper torso moves to the right. Breathing. Inhale to center. Cross the right leg over the left. Leave the left hand palm down, either at a T or a slight T. Take the right hand and draw that leg over to the right. And as you do that, just take your hand and work a little bit right at that hip area where you'll be surprised to find probably it's pretty tight. And just working down that IT band to the leg, towards the knee. And then come back up to center and cross that right over left. Left hand on the floor. Right hand on the floor. Left brings those knees over. Take the hand to the hip and just massage the hip a little bit. And then moving that down. And we do hold our emotions in the hips too, so you may be surprised to see how tight you are there. And then coming back up to center, extend the legs and extend the arms, lengthening the body. Exhaling down. Bring your feet up to the floor one at a time and draw the knees up into the chest. Take a hold of the knees and just rock them gently in and out. And then go behind the knees and just draw the thighs right down, pushing those soles up and point and flex the feet. Bring the soles of the feet together and point them up and draw them inward if you can, using the elbows to open up the inner thighs. And then come back to that position, draw them in, bring the arms through the middle, and grab the sides of your feet in happy baby and just rock back and forth a little. Bring the feet back together, point them up. Big breath. And then bring the feet down to the floor. Extend the arms. Extend the legs. Exhaling down. So we'll roll over and just come up. And we're going to just lay our blanket down as we prepare for a little meditation in Shavasana. So bring your blanket back down and your pillow. Have your pillow nearby or right there, and we'll just sit for a few minutes. If you're more comfortable sitting on a pillow or bolster, that's fine. So we'll come to this position, bringing the hands up. And we're just going to bring the ring finger and the thumb together, extending the other fingers in the Ravi Mudra. This is also called the seal of life. And this mudra, this gesture, hand gesture, brings with it well-being and a sense of overall good health. It's good for the digestive system and can actually make you a little more intuitive if it's practiced regularly. So with this, we are going to do Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti 3 times. We inhale to begin. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open the palms, and then just bring yourself to a Shavasana position, bringing the pillow under your head, and if you have a bolster, the bolster under your legs, and just coming to a restful position and just resting there for a few minutes. Bringing your attention now back to the rise and the fall of your breath, to the ebb and flow of the breath. And as you rest, I'll read to you. Release the harsh and pointed inner voice. It's just a throwback to the past and holds no truth about this moment. Let go of self-judgment, the old learned ways of beating yourself up for each imagined inadequacy. Allow the dialogue within the mind to grow friendlier and quiet. Shift out of inner criticism, and life suddenly looks very different. What's needed here isn't more prodding towards perfection. Love, not judgment, sows the seeds of tranquility and change. We bring our attention to the top of the body, softening the feet, ankles, shins, and knees. Resting the thighs. Relax your abdomen. Allow the abdominal organs to relax. We've squeezed some toxins from them today. Soften your chest and soften your heart so that you might be more loving. Soften the face. Relax the tongue. And rest your mind. And then slowly now begin to wiggle the fingers and toes. And then just roll to your side and just rest here for a minute with a feeling of acceptance, a feeling of gratitude, a feeling of newness of life, new awareness. And then very gently, keeping that sense of tranquility, bring yourself to a simple seated position. Sitting tall, we bring the hands to heart center. We lift the chest. And we press the pinky and the thumb together as we lift the hands up, opening the 3 middle fingers, bringing the lotus blossom above the crown of the head and allowing it to fill with blessings. And then we draw that together and bring it into the heart center. We lift the sternum gently. And then we bow the busy, thinking, intellectual, intelligent mind to the more intuitive wisdom of the heart. May the long-time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way home. Namaste.